Hello everyone, this is Wenjie Chow. I'm the author of a photo planning app called Planet Pro, but today I will talk about tripods instead of my apps. As you can see here, I have 3 tripods. This is Series 3 tripod from RS, and this is Series 2, and this is Series 1. Each series is different because the diameter of the first section is different. So for example, this one is about 36 millimeters in diameter. This one 32 millimeters, and this one is 28 millimeters. You can take a look at your tripod and figure out which one it belongs to. So each tripod has its own usage. For example, for this very big Series 3 tripod, I mainly use it for this big lens. This big lens is not only heavy, but also very expensive. So I want a very sturdy tripod like this one to hold it. Then the Series 2 tripod is my main workhorse tripod. It can be used in pretty much all the conditions. And then the Series 1 tripod, I use it when I have to travel and hike a long distance. So in today's video, I'll start with this Series 1 tripod. As you can see here, this tripod has a central column. It gave you the final extended height if you need it. So for example, you got a bush, you got a fence or wall in front of you, this will help. But in most time, we don't use it because you can see here, it's only a central pillar supporting the ball head. It's very unstable. As you can see from this picture, when the central column is in the middle, you cannot fold the legs very tight. So it affects the portability of the tripod. Let's say if you remove the central column, this is what it looks like, much smaller, right? So if you want the tripod leg stay like this and insert a small central column, that's what it will look like. It's too tiny to be useful here. So people start thinking different ways to fix the problem. And now I have to mention another company called Peak Design. So this is a very famous Peak Design tripod. The idea of this tripod is very simple, but creative. You can think it as squeeze the leg to become like an oval kind of shape. Then this direction becomes thinner and this direction becomes thicker. Then, because this direction is thinner, you can insert a central column here. It's a triangular central column. So you can take a look at this picture to see what's going on here. So when this product was launched in 2019 on Kickstarter, it created a big splash and many people bought this tripod. So if you ask me, is this tripod more stable or this tripod more stable? My answer will be definitely this tripod is way more stable. Then why people still choose this unstable tripod? Well, here's the reason if I put them side by side to you. Just look at the size difference, you see what I mean. When I have to hike a long distance, I will definitely take this one. It's not that stable, it's okay. I just don't use the center column. I don't use the last section of the legs, no big deal. But think about this. I have this shoulder bag from Peak Design, and I use it very often when I walk around in the city or travel with family. So I always put my tripod right here. As you can see, it's fitting perfectly. I just carry around. If I want to take a picture without using tripod, I take out my camera and I shoot. Then I'm done, I just put it back. So I don't need to worry about a tripod. Well, think about if you have to carry this tripod in your hand, and whenever you want to shoot, you have to put it down first, take a camera, shoot, then you can pick up after you're done. So it's not convenient at all. So now you may wonder, are you talking about a PD or some other tripod? So yes, my topic today actually will be another tripod that coming out recently. It's called Heipi 3-in-1 tripod. So after PDs came out, other companies started making new tripods. So some like RS created a new tripod like this one. They basically create an irregular shape of the center column so that it can fit in the space available. When most people look at a center area to design a center column, and this guy from Heipi has a different idea. So here's what they did. Take the central column, a triangular central column, you slice them to 3 pieces. Then they put them 3 pieces into the empty space between the legs, like this. That's how this tripod coming out. Take a look. A tri-pillar central column. This idea not only make use of the available space between the legs, but also make the central column to be useful. I think it is a great event central column. So in today's video, I will compare the PD tripod head-to-head with the Heipi tripod. But before I get started, I want to make sure you know that this is not a paid promotion video. I like this product, that's why I want to introduce this product to you. Okay, so let's get started. Now let's do a head-to-head compare with the 2 tripods. I will compare in 5 different areas. The first, portability. Second, max node, third, stability, fourth, features, and fifth, the price. So let's do the first one, portabilities. Let's compare the size side by side. I put them there so that you can see it. I also take a 500ml Costco water bottle right here so that you can see the comparison here. So as you can see here, the Heipi tripod is taller but thinner. The height of this tripod is about 44 centimeters and this one is about 39.5 centimeters. The circumference of this one is 18.5 centimeters and this one is about 20 centimeters. So if you calculate the volume size, use base area times height, the Heipi is actually smaller, but we don't need to do that. So one thing I care about is this bag. So I'll take this bag, I'll put this inside right here. As you can see, it fits in perfect fine. And furthermore, the ball head can be lowered like this. Then it will become even smaller. Or sometimes if you want even more compact, you can take this whole ball head off. On the other hand, the PD tripod, the head has to use tools to take it off. Now let's weight the two tripods. The PD tripod, 2 pound, 13.9 ounce. The Heipi tripod, 2 pound, 14.9 ounce. So within a 2 pound tripod is only 1 ounce difference, which is really neglectable. So in terms of portability, I would think these two things are pretty much the same. For the next one, I will compare the max load. The max load was determined by two things. First is the ball head. The second one is the leg itself. In most good quality tripod, the tripod legs has much bigger max load than the ball head. So today we'll only compare the ball head. To use the PD tripod, you have to raise the central column a little bit. Then you can see here, there is a ball head right here. The diameter of this is 30 millimeters. Then on the other hand, the PD tripod has very big ball head. The diameter of this one is 50 millimeters. So some people may not know the idea why I talk about the diameter of the ball head. That's the main thing that determines the max load. Of course, the locking mechanism also matters, but the diameter of the ball head is more important. So for example, the most famous ball head from RS is BH55. So that 55 means 55 millimeters. So this one is only 5 millimeters less than that. So this one is BH40 and it's very strong. I can put any lens on it without any problem. So you can imagine how strong this ball head is. But this one, not that so good. So I can show that to you. Let me screw it all the way to make it very tight. So this is tighter than go. Right now it's pretty much level as you can see here. So I can just use my hand. I can twist it. Now it's tilted. Do I really care about this? Not really, because this is a travel tripod. I have my expectation. I will not put a big lens on it. So now the question is why Heipi put such a big ball head on such a small body? Well, I'll show you later why. But just in terms of the max load of the tripod, the Heipi definitely wins. Now let's talk about stability of the two tripods. The stability comes with two parts. The first is the central column stability, then the legs. So for the central column, you can see the difference is quite obvious. This is a single pillar central column. This is a tri-pillar central column. If you know any basic of physics, you know that 3-pillar central column is way stabler than this column. Let's take a look at this video where Heipi guy did the comparison. What they did is basically lock the ball head so that the tripod will vibrate, and they measure how long does it take for the vibration to die down. So let's take a look. So as you can see, the Heipi tripod stopped vibrating after about 4 seconds. Then the PD tripod will keep vibrating more than 10 seconds. They're actually mirroring the stiffness of the tripod. It has a very practical meaning in our real world usage. Let's say we're taking time lapse at an interval of 1 second. Then somehow the tripod got hit by a wing, or maybe accident got hit by someone. Then the Heipi tripod will die down in 4 seconds, which means the 4 of our time lapse photo will be ruined. Then the
PD tripod will down in more than 10 seconds, which means more than 10 photos will be ruined. So this kind of stability testing matters. Then let's talk about the stability from the tripod legs. So that's supposed to be the strong point of this PD tripod, because by squeezing the leg to this shape, you got bigger size on this direction. This direction is about 36 diameters, and this direction is about 24 millimeters. So if I do an average, that's about 30 millimeters. If you still remember the diameter of these two tripods, this is 32 and this is 28. So this one was somewhere in between. So that's pretty good, because consider this is a series 1 tripod and this series 2 tripod. So if this one is bigger than series 1 of RS, that's good. Now let's take a look at the second one. So this is 36 and this is 30. 6 millimeters smaller than the previous section. So if this trend continues all the way to the fifth one, now you can see how small it is. Because 6 millimeters between each section is big. So the last section is very small. Well, let me put down and take a look at this Heipi tripod. The diameter of the first section is 26 millimeters. This is 28, so this one is thinner than this one, not to mention the PD tripod. The next one, 23 millimeters, so only 3 millimeters less than the first section. So if we continue all the way to the end, this one is 14 millimeters. So if you compare these two, you can see the big difference. This one is thicker than the thicker part of PD tripod. Again, let me put it down here. Now I show you something else that you will see what I mean here. I'll lift this up, so none of those flip locks are locked right now. So I'll shake it. So as you can see, it's wobbly a lot. The reason because the space in between the legs are not very tight. That's why it's wobbly. You can feel it. That's not good at all. So if they make it more optimized, you actually will not end up with such a small leg at the end. That's the problem. Then take a look at the Heipi tripod. Is that much better? See, that's the difference. So I'll put this one out as well. So this one is 28 millimeters. The next one is about 24 millimeters. Then the next one, 20, and continues. So now let's compare all three tripods. Starting from the first section, the PD is actually the best. Next is RS. The worst is Heipi. But when you come to the third section, this one is about 20 millimeters. Heipi is about 20 millimeters. RS is about 20 millimeters too. So which means at the third section, all three are pretty much the same. That means the last section, the Heipi tripod is actually thicker than the RS last section. The last two sections, so the Heipi tripod are bigger than both cases. So now, what's the conclusion of the stability? It's kind of hard to say, because if you only raise 3 sections of the PD tripod, it actually is the most stable one among the 3. But if you raise all the way to 5 sections, the Heipi tripod is stable. And if you raise the central column, the Heipi tripod will definitely be the most stable one. So I show you all the numbers and you can reach your own conclusions. So next, let's compare the features. I will talk about features from the top all the way to the bottom. I'll start with the platform, then the ball head locking mechanism, then the mobile phone support, then the flip lock, then the foot. Let's get started. Let's first take a look at this platform. Then you just use a plate to touch the front, then push it down, it will lock. But it still can move left and right. And in this case, you just move this tab from this direction over to here, then it's locked. The problem with this one is the moving distance of this tab is very long. You have to move here all the way to over there. Sometimes when you have a big thumb or you wear gloves in winter, it's kind of hard to move because there's no leverage over here. So if you this one push it too much, it's very hard to push it to open. The other thing is this one is plastic. It's kind of make it frozen in winter, so it's hard to use. The Heipi tripod also has a tab like this, but this one is automatically open whenever you push in this way. Then you just push in like that, and it's locked. You can further dial this one on this direction to lock it, but you don't have to. It's already locked very well. The other thing about this one is that they actually have taps on both directions. So your hand can have a good leverage to move both at the same time. And the moving distance is smaller here. You can just move in from here to really lock the tap. Now let's compare the ball head. The PD ball head is very easy to use. So I use this hand to adjust composition. When I'm down, I just rotate this ring lock and it's locked. Very easy to use. And for the Heipi tripod, is a ball head. So it's just like regular ball head. The difference is this level is different. If this level is down at this position, you can move the ball head. And if the level is pushing all the way up, it's locked. That's good because just look at where the level is. I know if the ball head locked or unlocked, which is unlike this kind of level lock here. I don't know if it's locked or not just by looking at the position, because this position you can rotate it anywhere you want it. The other thing people may ask, where this is the drag set lock here or the resistance button that you can adjust when this one is completely loose, how loose this ball head will be. Well, it's actually part of this level. So because this position of the level is fixed, so if you put the level at this direction here, it will be movable. And it's just like a resistance lock here. And if you push all the way up, you can't do that anymore. And if you push all the way down, you will fail if you let it go. So this one actually can adjust the resistance level here, which is a very smart design here. There's also a little trick here. You can drag this out and rotate it by 60 degrees. By doing this, you can adjust the tension level on the top and on the bottom. And in this case, if you push all the way up, here is really tight, so you can use this to hold a very big lens. But if the camera is not that big, you can just let it go a little bit, then push it back in there. Then it will be not that hard to rotate the level. By doing this thing, it gives you some fine-tuned adjustment of the different locking power on the top and on the bottom. Next, let's talk about the mobile phone thing. The PD hides a mobile phone clamp right here in the center column. You can take it out, open it up, then put it over here, then lock it. To use that, you just take your phone and just push up, and now it's there. Do it vertically, just doing this, and like this. This is very easy to adjust the vertical and horizontal in terms of the PD tripod here. To put it back, you just fold it, then just insert it like that. And it has magnetic, so it will not fall down. Then you can insert this in here, then push the tab down, then rotate, then it's locked. The Heipi tripod don't have a unified central column anymore, so they can't hide a phone jack over there, but they put the phone jack right here. You just push out like that. Then you can put your phone in there, like that. And if you do it vertically, lose the level, and there's a vertical. There's a horizontal. Also very easy to use. When you're done with it, just push in like that. So I personally like the Heipi better because it's right there and you can use it anytime. Some people may ask, if you use a camera over here, then you can't use a phone holder anymore. Well, that's the same thing with here. If you use this platform for the camera, even you have a phone holder, you still cannot use it over here. The PD also sort of that. They actually design some holes over here, which PD don't have. There are 3 1/4 inch holes on each leg on the center column. So you can buy those accessories, which we call it like a magic hand or whatever. You just screwed it in like that. It's all standard 1 1/4 size screws here, and now it's there. Then you can put your phone over here, adjust here to point to the correct direction, then just lock it like that. Next, let's talk about the flip locks. The PD leg on this direction is very thick, so make it easy to have very big flip lock. So you can just use a finger like this to open all 4 at the same time. Then you can use a palm to push it in. Very easy to use. And many people hate flip locks, but you know what? The PD flip lock is very easy to use. I don't find any problem at all in the past 3 years. The only thing I have complained is if you look at the details here, all those bolts are posed in the air, which could potentially be rerouted. And also you can see when you fold this, because this part is too big, and it causes a big gap here, which means the PD tripod is not really optimized to its best. Then the Heipi tripod, because it's directly much thinner than the PD one, if you try to use your forefinger to do that, it's kind of hard. But there's another way to do that is you use a joint over here, either this joint or this joint. You can just push flips over to your joint, then just rotate and it's open. To push it in, you just do that, use your palm, same thing as a PD. Then let's also look at details here. It's much more elegant compared with the PD one. And also if I try to, you can see here it's much tighter now. I can't stick my finger in there here. And well, maybe see from this direction here, it's very close to each other because this flip block is much smaller compared with the PD ones. Then finally, let's take a look at the foot. The PD is a rubber foot by default. It has a hex, so you can screw it out. Then you can put your own custom foot that's made by them if you want spikes. 3 of them cost $30 if you buy directly from PD. The Heipi foot, on the other hand, is just a regular screw. You can just screw in using your hand without using any additional tools. And the height here is it has a small spikes, very small. But it's there. If you want to use it, you can use it. I didn't screw all the way in, but just show you, you can use it. Since this is standard 3/8 inch screws, you can buy any screw like this on the market. It's very cheap, and you can just screw in like that right there. That's gonna save you some money. So finally, the price. I got the PD tripod through Kickstarter. In total, I paid about for $19. Right now, the retail price for PD carbon tripod is $649. Then for the Heipi tripod, the cost is $299 right now, and the retail price will be $399. So which means the Heipi tripod is about $200 to $250 cheaper than the PD tripod. So now I compared all 5 different areas of the 2 tripods. Except the compact or portability part, they are pretty much the same. I think in all other areas, Heipi tripod seems to be better. But that's not all. There are more features that Heipi tripod has and PD tripod doesn't have. I'll put the PD tripod aside and I will show you the Heipi tripod. So first, let's rotate this ring lock. So you can raise it up like that. That becomes central column, which I already talked about. Then you can further raise and you can take it out. Now this becomes a separate tripod that you can do it like this. So the height is about, let me see, this height here is about less than 30 centimeters, about 11.5 inch. And you can also further it down like this, and it becomes a ground tripod. I'll take this chance to put a big lens on this. This is my 500mm 4 lens with a Canon 5D Mark IV, custom L plate, custom foot. So I'll mount it like this, and it's locked. As you can see, you can move around. Then I can lock it, push all the way up. Here we go. Well, this is not that impressive because right now the gravity center is right on top of the tripod. So what I'm gonna do is there is a latch here. It can go all the way to the ground, right? So I'll do this, halfway, then I lock it. Take a look. Very sturdy. So I'll leave it here so that you can see how long it can last. I'll talk about this tripod now. So now here it becomes a separate tripod. You can get another ball head and screw it on right there, and you can use it as another tripod. And if you have another ball head which is the base is too big, you can take this ring off like this. Then here is complete flat. You got a standard 3/8 inch screw here that you can use for any ball head. So I'll use this ball head from Heipi. You can screw it on like that. So this is another tripod. So I'll extend for you so that you can take a look here. So this is the height. I'm about a 5'10", so you can see the height of this. So here's how it looks like. I mean, I think size is okay because most camera has those flip screens now. It's not a problem for me if I use this way. can put this camera on as well. This is a 100-400mm lens. See, it works just fine. Many plant users like to take photos of the alignment, the moon or sun. They need two telephoto lenses. One is to take time lapse, the other one to take the single shots. This is a perfect combination. But of course, I only recommend use this big lens on the tripod when it's very low on the ground. And if it's very high, I still suggest you use the Series 3 tripod here. Now, the second feature I want to show you is a panning feature here. It's having a panning base on the bottom, and here is the button to lock it. What's interesting about this panning head is it has a click stop function, which means you're gonna click every certain degrees, and in this case, it will click every 10 degrees. So every 10 degree, it'll click one, so you know how many degrees to rotate. This is not a big deal in the daytime because we don't really care. We can see the viewfinder to figure out what degree to rotate when we're taking panorama shot. But at night, especially when you're taking a Milky Way shot, you cannot see anything in the viewfinder. So this click will be very useful. Now the question is, how do you know how many degrees to rotate for certain focal lengths? Well, that's where you can use the plane app to figure out. Let's switch to the panorama tools. Then click on the last value here, and there is a rotation increment and click stop here, and you tap on that. The by default is 2.5 degrees, and you can change to 10 degrees, which is what this guy can do. And then you go back and change the focal length to maybe 24mm lens. Then change the orientation from landscape to portrait orientation. Now it tells you 6 photos at 30 degrees. What that mean here is you can grab an L plate like this one, put it on, then you mount your camera like this. Let's say I have a Milky Way arch in front of me. The whole span will be 180 degrees. I'm starting from one end of the Milky Way arch. Then I take a photo. Then I rotate it to have 3 clicks. 1, 2, 3. Done. Another picture. Then rotate it again. Another picture until it's all the way to this side when you see the Milky Way center, the other side of the Milky Way arch. Then you got 6 photos in total. Then in the post process, you can stitch them together into one big photo. That's how it works. What if the Milky Way center is too high? Then you can tilt it up like this to create a multi-row panorama. So you can do that in plane as well. Click the last setting. It says multi-rows. Just tap that, select 2 rows. Then you go back, you can see it says 2 rows at 40 degrees. So which means the first one you point it down like this, then you rotate it 40 degrees until you can see the second row. Then you take the row again. 6 photos in 1 row, at 2 rows will be 12 photos. Then you merge them together into one panorama photos. But having a click stop panning base like this triggered me to find another way to use this feature. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna get a lot of point blade like this one, put it on like this. Then I put down the ball head to become vertically like this one. Then I mount the camera. Then mount the camera like this. So look at it. Now it become an L plate as well. So I can just do it this way, rotate the one. If I want to point it up, I just lose the ball head, then I point it up. So this is much easier. Look at it. So instead of use this big L plate, I can do it, just use this simple auto point blade. Very easy. So the correct way to do the rotating, this kind of side rotating, it should be through here. The axis should be right here. But since we are talking Milky Way panorama, it's very far, so it doesn't matter you're rotating over here or rotating over here. So that works just fine. And I'll save you some weight because you don't need to carry the L plate anymore. So one thing that you may ask is why Heipi don't do a panning base on top? So the reason is not that they don't want, because they can't do that. And the reason is because RS patent this. So any panning base on top of a ball head is their patent. So they cannot do that. That's why PD didn't do it either. So Heipi cannot do that either. But I already recommend to them that they will have a new leveling base on bottom so that we can put the leveling base first, then put the ball head. Then you can do the leveling here. Right now, there is actually a bubble level here. So you have to level the base, use the tripod legs, which is harder to do than the leveling base. But anyway, that's the panoramic feature of this tripod. So here are the 3 pieces you will get when you purchase in the box: the ball head, the central column, and the main tripod legs. So next, I will show you the weight of different part of the Heipi tripod. The first is the ball head, 9.3 ounce. The central column, 6.6 ounce. The main tripod, 1 pound, 14.3 ounce. If I put this ball head on here, that'll be 2 pound, 7.6 ounce. You can use this without a center column as a lightweighted combination. So that's pretty much the end of this video. One of the reasons I do this comparison video is because I have been using PD tripod for the past 3 years. I really enjoy using it. It's very compact, lightweight, and it fits my requirement very well. If you're holding this in your hand, it will feel like a piece of art. But even with such a tough competitor like a PD tripod, the Heipi still come up with a better design, better craftsmanship, very good product quality, and if you hold this in your hand, also like a piece of art. Truly impressed by the guy in Heipi that can create such a perfect product, because they care for the details. They pretty much redesign everything from the clamp to the ball head to the central column to the flip lock to the foot. Every little things come together to create this almost perfect product. So I want to say congratulations to both Peak Design and Heipi. They are competing each other, but at the same time, they're also our inspirations for better product in this area. I took this Heipi tripod out in the field to give it a try. I took a moonset time lapse. While you guys enjoy the time lapse, I'll say goodbye to you guys. Thank you for watching and have a good day.